and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are joining me for the first time today. My name is Lucy and today I created this autumn/fall inspired grungy sort of makeup look. So if you do want to watch how I created this look and possibly follow along with me, then do keep on watching. So as always, the first step of my makeup routine is my brows. As I've always been doing recently, I am going to go ahead with my Pears translucent soap. Any hand soap will do, but I really like to use this one. I'm just spraying it with some setting spray, and then I'm going to go in with my spoolie and just run that through my brows. When you start to feel the soap hardening and getting a little bit thicker, then just take your finger and just brush it over your brow. This will really give you the laminated brow effect, and it will really make sure your brows are not going to move throughout the day. Now I'm just going to take a concealer. This one is the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer in the shade Light Ivory. I'm just going to take this and carve it underneath my brows. Now, a product that I'm not sure I've actually mentioned yet here on my YouTube channel that I have been absolutely loving recently is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Pen. I'm using the shade Taupe, which is the same shade that I use in all of the other Anastasia brow products. And it's really great for literally just filling in sparse areas. As you can see on the tail end of my brow, I do have a big gap there that I just like to fill in with some hair strokes. I'm also just going to use it to slightly extend the tail of my brow because I have plucked them a little bit short recently. Now, moving on to the eyes, of course, before I start any eyeshadow look, I always like to prime my eyelids using the Plouise base. This one is in the shade Rumour number 2. Don't forget, I do have a discount code for Plouise Cosmetics if you ever want to use it. It's Lsgmakeup 10, and I'm just going to apply this all over my lids. I always find it's better just to apply it everywhere, especially if you don't really know what look you're going for. Now, I'm not sure about you guys, but when I think of autumnal makeup and like autumn colours for your eyeshadow, the first palette that always comes to mind is, of course, the original Morphe and Jaclyn Hill eyeshadow palette. I really don't use this palette as much anymore as I probably should, but it's definitely the top of my autumn colour list. The colour scheme is just so warm and orangey and dark burgundy reds and dark browns. It's just perfect for autumn. So this is the palette that I'm going to be using today because I definitely haven't touched this in a hot minute. However, before I go in with the eyeshadow palette, I am actually going to start by taking a cream base for my eyeshadow, which is the Plouise Crisp Finish Eye Paint in the shade Smoking Hot. This is like a burnt orange sort of brownie colour. I think that this is a very, very good colour for an autumn/fall look. So I'm just going to start by taking a tiny bit and placing that on the back of my hand. This product normally goes a long way, so you only need the tiniest amount. Then I'm just going to take a flat sort of eyeshadow packing brush and I'm going to start to pack that into shape on my eyelid. And as these bases do begin to set after 60 seconds, you have to work really quickly with them. So I'm going to take a Morphe M506 brush and just start to buff out the edges with no added product on the brush. Now, just to give it a little bit of a boost, helping to blend it out on that outer edge, I'm going to go in with some translucent powder. This is just the Rimmel Stay Matte powder. And I'm going to take that on a blending brush and just very lightly blend over the edges. You will instantly begin to see how well the powder helps to blend out the edges of that cream shadow. Now, moving into the eyeshadow palette, I'm going to begin with the dark sort of orange pumpkin shade in the palette, which is the shade Hunts. And I'm taking that on a Morphe M456 brush. By the way, this is one of the best blending brushes for eyeshadow. I have at least 4 of these in my collection. I feel like everyone needs at least one. Starting right in the crease of my eyeshadow, and then I'm going to start to build it up as I go. Okay, now the next shade I'm going to go in for is this yellow mustard shade in the palette, which is named Creamsicle. I'm taking that on a tiny little blending brush by Unicorn Cosmetics, and I'm just going to use this to blend out the outer edge. Then I'm going back in with the brush that I used before and going back in with the darker orange shade and just going to make sure that I re-intensify that colour. Now I'm going to take the shade Chip, which is this dark brown shade down in the corner, with an M506 brush, and I'm really just going to intensify and deepen up the outer and inner corners of this look. Okay, so as I've been doing this look, I've suddenly decided I want to do a curveball, and I actually want to do a spotlight eye today, which if I was normally doing a spotlight eye, this is definitely not how I would approach it. Usually when I do a spotlight, I don't remove the middle section because I just avoid it when I'm doing the look anyway, if that makes any sense. But I'm literally just going to take a makeup wipe and start to remove this section down the middle, because this is where I want the glitter to go. Now that it's looking like a hot mess, we're just going to go back in with the Plouise base, or if you don't own this product, then just any concealer will do. I'm taking a small bit on the back of my hand, and I'm actually just going to press that over the top so it starts to blend in. Now, I'm well aware this looks ridiculous at this point, but this is kind of the vibe that we want it to look like at the moment. We want this negative space up the middle, and then we're going to come and blend the edges in a second, so don't worry too much about that. Now that we've got this shape going on, I'm just going to take a small little brush and start to just tap it over the edges to blend the eyeshadow in with that concealer. So now we've started to blend out that negative space, I'm just going to go back in with the mustard yellow shade named Creamsicle on a smaller brush, and I'm just going to pat that over the very, very edges of this negative space. Now I'm going to go in with the Jordana Tisha Base and Sparkle in the shade Stargazer. This is a really nice gold shade, and when I think of autumn/fall, I think of like warm tones and gold. I really like this product because it comes with a cream at the top and then obviously the pigment in the bottom. So this cream acts as the glitter glue to stick down the pigment. I'm just taking this on a tiny little brush, and I'm going to start with the cream side and just go right up the middle of that spotlight. And then going into the pigment side on the bottom, I'm also just going to take that same brush and just pat it on top of the base. Then I'm just going to go back in with my tiny little brush with that yellow, and I'm just going to pat that back onto the edges because the pigment has kind of lost it. And just to give some real dimension to that sparkle in the middle of our spotlight, I'm going in with the Beauty Bay and Mama Mitchell Liquid Glitter Eyeliner / Eye Topper in the shade Medal, and I'm just going to use the little applicator to apply that right up the centre. Unfortunately, I do think this is discontinued now. I think it was a limited edition product, but you can use so many other liquid eyeshadows to create the same effect. Okay, so whilst my camera battery had just died, I took the opportunity to put on a little bit of eyeliner, which is the Morphe Coffee Eyeliner, which is a dark brown shade. And then I just put on some lashes as well. These are the Backstage Beauty Girls Night Out lashes. I'm not really going to go too in-depth with my base routine. I'm just going to literally show you the product I'm using and put it on. To start with some primer, I'm going to take the NYX Bear With Me Jelly Primer. I really like the formula of this because it literally is like jelly. For my foundation, I'm going to take a tiny bit of the Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Foundation. This is in the shade 170, mixed with the Laura Mercier Tinted Moisturiser in the shade Pearl. I just also want to talk about it whilst I'm noticing it in the camera. I get a lot of comments on my videos from people saying they can't stand the filter, the flawless airbrush filter that I have on my camera. I promise you, I have done everything in my power to get rid of that filter. I don't know why it does it every time I film. I've turned it off in the settings. I've turned off every setting that I possibly thought could be connected to it. I don't know why it still does it. I feel like it might just be a built-in feature in my camera. I really don't know. But please trust me when I say I have done everything I can to turn it off, because it annoys me just as much as it annoys you. But yeah, I am aware that there is some sort of filter going on. I haven't turned it on. I have tried my best to turn it off, and I thought I had turned it off, but clearly it must just be something built in with the camera because it still does it. Now I'm going back in with my e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer in the shade Light Ivory, just to go underneath my eyes. To give my face a bit of warmth and dimension, because at the moment I'm looking very pale and very 2D, I'm going to take the Charlotte Tilbury contour wand, which I absolutely have been loving recently. This one is in the shade fair to medium, and it is the perfect cool toned shade for my skin tone. Now, to powder up my face, I'm going to be taking the Too Faced Born This Way multi-use complexion powder in the shade Snow. Something I've been doing recently, which I really like, is taking one of these tiny beauty blenders and using it with my pressed powder just to set my under eyes. I really find that it's a lot easier to set your under eye when you're using a sponge rather than a brush, because it really pushes the product in, and it also helps to minimize the amount of creases you're going to get under your eyes as well. Then just to set in my cream contour, I'm going in with the NARS Laguna bronzer. This is again a really nice bronzer shade, especially for my skin tone. It's not too orange and not too cool toned. Now, to add some colour back into my skin, I'm taking the Too Faced Papa Don't Peach blusher. I really like this and it smells really nice too. And then for my glow, I'm going to be taking one of the new Beauty Bay highlighters, which is in the shade Beam. Okay, so just zooming back in to do my under eyes, I'm actually going to start with the Coffee eyeliner by Morphe again, which is this dark brown eyeliner, and I'm going to take that on an angled liner brush and just stamp that into my waterline. Now I'm coming back in with the palette and I'm starting with that dark brown shade named Chip, which we used earlier to deepen up the outer edges, and I'm just going to take that on a Morphe M508 smudging brush and go right underneath my lower lash line with that. Now I'm going back in for the orange shade, which was Hunts, and I'm going to take that on a Morphe E36 brush and blend that underneath. And finally going back in with Creamsicle on a tiny little blending brush and just blending that right at the bottom. And to finish up this makeup look, I'm going to go in for my lips. So I'm taking the Plouise Standards lip liner, which is a nice dark shade, and I'm going to line my lips with this first. Now I'm going to be taking the Huda Beauty Game Night lipstick. And finally, to add some shine to my lips, I'm going in with the Colourpop Luxe Lip Oil in the shade Hot Shot. I really love the formula of these lip oils because they are so super glossy, but obviously because they're not a gloss, they're not sticky and they feel very comfortable on your lips. And this, you guys, is my finished autumn / fall inspired grungy glam look. I really hope you guys did enjoy watching this tutorial, and if you are going to recreate, please let me know down in the comments. I actually really like the way this look came out. I don't normally go for such a dark lip, especially when I'm looking so pale, but I feel like autumn and fall makeup is all about the sort of darker colours, the more grungy look, so I think it fits with the vibe. I'm sure this video is long enough, so I'm going to wrap up this ending pretty quickly. I just want to say thank you for watching. Make sure to leave a thumbs up, a comment down below, and also subscribe to my channel if you have not already. You can also find me over on TikTok and Instagram, which are both LSGmakeup, and Twitter, which is LSGmakeup_. Also let me know down in the comments which is your favorite season. Mine actually is autumn, more so for the fact that you can wear coats and not be too hot, because I am absolutely a sucker for a good coat to finish off any outfit. Thank you so much for watching again, and I really hope I can catch you in the next one. Bye!